Hi, I'm MarzGurl.
I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
And welcome to episode 77 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover Season 2, Episode 26 of City Hunter, titled Targeted Witness, A Dangerous Beauty Dressed Up Like a Man, Part 2.
Part 2!
Yes, we are continuing the very large discussion that we had last week about just exactly how Ryo's orientation might be shifting, and there's a couple of things that will carry over just slightly, but funny enough, we're going to get some development in Kaori and Ryo's relationship.
There's, like we said last week, a couple of bad things are happening here now that Ryo is aware that the person they are protecting, who's been dressing like a man this entire time, is not a man, it is a woman who's been disguising herself as a man to protect her identity. And now Ryo thinks, oh, well, it's okay that I thought maybe I was gay for a second because I wasn't gay, actually. And you're a woman the whole time, so now I'm just gonna hit on you like you are in fact a woman.
And by doing so, I'm going to lie about a couple of things. That way I appear more gay than I am.
I'm struggling to understand what his thought process there was. Well, I mean, the answer really is that he wasn't thinking at all. That's the answer.
He was thinking with his mokkori. He was thinking with his boner.
You know, as men do.
As he is wont to do.
And that's basically where we start off, really, all things considered. He has decided, okay, we need to keep it a secret from Kaori that you are a woman, because you, Keiko, the woman, are understandably trying to be honest with Kaori at this point. And you want to say, okay, now we all know, I'm sorry I lied to you. Kaori was starting to maybe develop a crush on me, and I don't want her to be all upset, so I'm just gonna go and tell her the truth. But no, don't do that. Actually, I, Ryo, do not want her to be upset. And so you're just gonna remain dressed like a man for the next 2 days. Can you do it? And that sounds halfway like he's being considerate for a second. Like,
but he's not, though.
He's really
exploiting the situation because now he's got this information. It's a real power imbalance sort of thing.
Right.
She's in a desperate situation right now where she needs the protection of this person. She needs to be trusting. But no, he's like, no, I'm trying to get my dick wet.
We've got to stop using that terminology.
It's what he's doing.
It is literally what he's trying to do.
It is literally his motivation for everything.
It is, but we gotta stop. It's so gross. It's so gross, but you know what? Ryo is gross. He's a gross dude, and he's trying to be gross, and he kind of doesn't care how gay it looks, which progressively harassing?
I don't know that there is such a thing until right now, the concept of progressive harassment.
No, you know what? Let's not lean in that direction.
Okay, we're not even gonna touch that.
Let's not entertain that.
Well,
it's just harassment.
Okay, so harassment. I won't mention anything about anything being wet.
No.
So Keiko goes to the bath.
No! What have you done?
I didn't do anything. That's literally where we're going in the story.
Okay.
Keiko's in the bath specifically, not Keiichi. You know, she's not needing to dress up like a man right now.
Well, she doesn't need to wear clothes at all because she's in a bathtub, Josh.
Well, see, the thing about it is, you would think you would be safe in a bathtub.
Not in a house
not
with
in
Ryo,
this apartment.
You're not.
No, you're not. He just busts through the door like, hey, what's going on? Time for dudes to wash each other. Yeah, let's do it. And she lets out the largest yell, the largest extended yell I think we've heard out of any other side character in this show.
Throws everything even remotely in her vicinity, right? Just starts throwing shit. Just throwing stuff everywhere, mostly in Ryo's direction, to get him the hell out of the door. Mind you, Kaori is just a little ways down the hall, and she's trying to cook. Like, she's trying to make some kind of a...
It looked like pasta?
I don't know, a stew, a hot pot. It's in a pot, okay? And
I thought it was spaghetti.
Maybe. And the food is flying in the air, and she's got to catch it in the air because she has been spooked halfway to death from the scream.
Like, she does this, like, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man catch with a pot, catching all of the contents back in there. So that's already the start of it. Like, bath time isn't safe. But now it's dinner time, and now Ryo's trying his hardest to just feed her from across the table. Hey, you want this sausage? I can feed you this. You're my little bro. I can do that. And
but
that's just creepy.
It comes off looking less like this is what you would do with your little bro, and more like this is how you would feed your partner in a couple type relationship.
and Kaori's just side-eyeing them the whole time.
Like, when did you two get so close? I don't know, I think there's something weird between you two, and Ryo's really just trying to pass it off like, no, we're just two bros being bros, isn't that right, bro?
And unfortunately, Keiko, as Keiichi right now, has to kind of go along with it because, again, she's doing her best to not hurt Kaori at the cost of her own discomfort.
Right.
And that's already bad enough, but now you gotta worry about sleep, because now Ryo's talking about, hey, tonight, you looking forward to sleeping together, huh, bro? Yeah?
Like dudes do, and Kaori's like, okay, Ryo, you can just watch after him all the time. But, don't worry, the futon that we didn't have last time, because it was out at the cleaners, I just got it back, so guess what, Keiichi? You don't have to sleep with Ryo, you can just sleep by yourself. And actually, Keiichi is very happy about that, because he does not want to be in the same bed as Ryo, because Ryo is starting to finally make Keiichi very uncomfortable.
Am I allowed to say he's sounding kind of rapey right now?
It's definitely very high up there on the creepo meter.
Yeah, because it's like Ryo's starting to kind of give new meaning to the term watch your ass.
No, I think that's an old meaning.
Okay, well, either way, he's trying to get some man butt right now.
Oh, no.
As far as Kaori's concerned.
As far as Kaori's concerned, but Ryo knows Keiichi is not a man, that's Keiko.
And so that's why late at night he's trying to sneak into the guest room. You know, he comes down the hall silently, opens and closes the door without making a peep, does the Lupin the Third jump through the air.
Out of his clothes. He's done this before, and I'm just thinking, we all know where this is going.
We know where this is going.
Because he's done this so many times. I don't know how he's fallen for it this many times, but guess what? It's not Keiichi in that bed, it's Kaori. Kaori's waiting there for him, waiting with a hammer, and of course she is very upset. Oh my god, I can't believe you have done this again, and this time you did it with Keiichi,
with a man?
Who said, hey, I've got a bad feeling about things, can I switch beds with you? And Kaori's like, okay, I don't see a problem with that. If that's gonna make you feel more comfortable, then let's do it. And you know what? She had every reason to suspect that something was gonna happen, and sure enough, Ryo went and did exactly what we all knew he was gonna do.
But it's the fact that, one, she's armed not with a weighted hammer this time. This hammer, in English, says abnormal 100%.
Yeah.
She knows something is off here because for the first time ever in the history of City Hunter, as far as they've been partners, this is the first time Ryo has tried to pounce on another man.
So I guess it's abnormal insofar as it's never happened before.
I mean, yeah, it's never happened before because there's never been the situation where somebody was pretending to be a woman and had to be protected by Ryo. But
no,
on top
pretending to be a man and having to be
that's
protected.
That's what I meant. But on top of that, as far as Kaori's concerned, this is freaking her out. She's never had to do this for a man before.
Right.
And so she has to hit him with like one of those giant temple bells.
Well, yeah, she covers him with like the big metal bell and then hits the bell with the hammer, and of course there's the big vibration, it's loud, it hurts, it's bad.
And apparently Ryo had to spend the whole night trying to explain to Kaori, I don't know what. Because how do you justify that this is clearly what you were trying to do? You can't hide that this is what you were trying to do.
Right.
And so he seems a little groggy, he seems a little out of it. Keiichi comes up to him, like, what are you in a bad mood about? And he's like, well, I had to spend all night explaining to Kaori what was going on. And Keiichi, rightfully so, questions Ryo, why are you even doing this with me? You have Kaori right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Which, it's weird how Ryo tries to justify this, because he says, oh, well, Kaori's my partner, but you are, how does he explain it? Like, but you're my only
You're the only other person I could be with, and if we could just prove that with a kiss right here.
Well, specifically, he says something along the lines of, you're the only man partner I have. It's really strange, like, that means that he can have both? I don't know.
But the important thing is he's trying to get a kiss out of Keiko right now.
Right.
As she's dressed as Keiichi. And this is the perfect time for Kaori to walk in on them, as she does. Drops her coffee, and just stares at them in abject horror.
Very, very upsetting to everybody involved, and Ryo is shocked, and Keiichi is shocked, and now Kaori is extremely upset, and of course she doesn't want to be in the room, and that makes sense.
And so Kaori being there there, forces Ryo to have to make like a split-second decision, and somehow Ryo and Keiichi got on the same wavelength and just started pretending to exercise.
Right, so it's like they're pretending it's the morning sort of exercise.
Yeah, morning calisthenics or something.
Yeah.
Like, all right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, get that blood pumping. Now let's go on to the gun range. We're going out the door and we're pretending to run away. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
And that's the thing, they're like whispering 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
I appreciate the little attention to detail, pretending they're running away down the hallway.
Right.
And they're both listening in like, did she buy it?
No, she did not. She busts through the door, and the door smacks Ryo in the face, and Keiichi's still standing there right in front of her, basically. Very shocked, like, she's here right now, and she is very upset. Oh, there she goes. She's leaving.
And she doesn't even care that Keiichi is there. She is just going down the street to deal with what she's feeling right now. Because think about this. Put yourself in Kaori's shoes.
Sure.
She has just witnessed her partner twice within maybe 12 hours. Maybe less than that. Maybe 8 hours.
Uh-huh.
Do some very out-of-character things as far as she is aware.
Right.
She has caught him trying to jump into another man's bed, trying to jump his bones, apparently.
Yeah.
And then that morning, she catches him trying to kiss the other man.
Like, suddenly Ryo is interested in dudes. You would think, like, oh, well, this is a new revelation, and now I'm upset about this because I thought he was into me as a woman, and really, that is extremely secondary to what she's actually upset about. And what she's actually upset about is, like, I've been right here the entire time, and he's not thinking about making out with me? Instead, this person's only been here 4 days, and this is the person that he wants to be making out with? So she's not even, like, upset necessarily that it is a dude, just that it is somebody else, and
Right.
that they only just showed up, and that's who he's interested in.
So to put that all in perspective, she's not mad about Ryo's orientation at all.
Right.
Whatever it may be. She's just mad that he's passing up on her when she believes she's been sending some kind of signals toward him.
In fact, like, there's not really confirmation of this in the episode, but can you imagine Ryo is here mocking Kaori like the entire time they've known each other, and making fun of her for being masculine or whatever, and constantly misgendering her, which he knows upsets her.
Right, he does it on purpose.
It gets her upset all the time. And now Ryo is trying to make out with a dude, and how must that feel? To feel like even when Ryo thinks I'm a dude, if he is interested in dudes,
he picked another dude.
He picked another dude. So like, yeah, that must feel like shit.
I wasn't even thinking about that because we had seen this episode before.
Yeah.
And then you brought that to my attention. I'm like, oh my god, that must make her feel even lower
Right.
than she normally does. Because for whatever reason, I don't know why Ryo thought the best way to keep her off his trail of potentially having feels about her is to attack her self-esteem. Mm-hmm. But
well,
like,
I mean,
this
it means
is...
he is kind of a piece of shit. Let's be real.
Like, he's going for the jugular with that. But here, I don't even think he thought about that.
He might not have, no.
Because at the end of the day, he does care about her. And I think if he had maybe considered that this was even a possibility, he might not have done it.
That's true.
Maybe. But I think it's just so that he was completely not thinking about the long term of it, that he doesn't realize he's doing more damage. And I think that's what plays into the end of the episode.
Oh, that could be.
But at the end of the day, even with all the changes and revelations we've got about these characters, this is still a regular episode of City Hunter. Mm-hmm. And we're about halfway through, so I think it's about time Kaori got kidnapped.
And even she mocks, like, when this guy rolls up in a car next to her, and he's pointing a gun at her, and this is...
He's like, hey, get in the car.
Clearly one of these dudes who got some skin in the game as far as Keiko Keiichi is concerned. Get in the car, you're coming with me. And even Kaori is like, why does this just keep happening to me? Why is this my lot in life? That I'm just the person that keeps getting kidnapped.
At least she's got self-awareness of it.
Uh-huh.
Because I imagine if this kept going, which, you know, the series is going to go on for a while, it would be weird if she never addressed it.
That's true.
But at least now, after, like, let's say a year of all this going down, maybe more now at this point, a year and a half of her being City Hunter's partner, she's finally starting to be like, hey, now there's something wrong here.
I mean, wouldn't you? I would feel that way.
I'd feel that way after about a month, 2 months of that being a consistent thing that happens to me. Like, I look at it this way. We just finished watching this show called Jury Duty, where this guy...
God, that was such a good show.
It was actually a really good show. It's over on Amazon. Go check it out. It's just 8 episodes.
And free.
Where this guy's put in this situation where he doesn't know he's the only person in a reality show, and they keep throwing this weird shit at him every single day on this reality show, and you would figure after a while, you'd start to get wise to why is this stuff always happening.
I mean, apparently there were a couple of times where he said, man, this is so weird, this is like a reality show. But he's just saying that, and he doesn't actually,
yeah.
He's not actually believing, oh man, it's a reality show, but he's saying it like, it's just so weird. I don't understand why weird things keep happening around me.
And it's kind of that same thing with Kaori, like, I don't understand why this keeps happening. I mean, I get it. I'm City Hunter's partner. There's something to that, but really, every week?
It keeps happening because Tsukasa Hojo maybe didn't write her so great in that aspect.
No, I guess not, but maybe at the time in the 80s, you only needed so much originality to get by.
Yeah, but still, we're gonna do this to our female characters, huh? We're just gonna keep doing this shit? Alright, great, thank you.
So back at the apartment, Ryo and Keiichi are alone, and Keiichi's starting to get a little worried because Kaori hasn't come home yet, and from her storming off, and she's wondering, well, where did she go? How come she's not home yet? Ryo's like, don't worry about that. It's just us right now.
Oh my god.
And thankfully, the phone rings and saves her from being accosted by Ryo right now.
Unfortunately, it's the dude who kidnapped Kaori. So, thank you for saving me, only to be threatening in my general direction, but thank you, I guess.
Also pointing out here, this is another case where this dude that is just the dude in the car has no name.
I guess we don't know his name, and we don't ever fully figure out, like, this is kind of spoiling it, but we're never gonna fully figure out, hey, how'd that trial go? We just know that there's gonna be a trial for this guy and the drugs and the, okay.
We just know he's involved somehow.
Anyway, so Keiichi hands the phone over to Ryo like, it's for you, and Ryo's like, hello. He switched into serious I am pissed mode.
Because he automatically knows, oh, if Keiichi Keiko is handing the phone off to me, it must be something bad. It must be something pertaining to the case.
Yeah, and it is. And really, the guy on the other end of the phone is like, well, just so long as Keiko does not show up at the trial and does not testify and be a witness or whatever, then we don't have a problem and we'll release Kaori. Okay, great. I'm glad we have that settled. Goodbye. Click.
Well, it's not exactly that, because he does manage to mention to Ryo that first, yes, I have Kaori, and two, I know what she means to you. If I did something to her, you would chase me to the ends of the earth, so I'm not going to do anything to harm her right now.
So long as you don't show up to court.
So long as Keiko doesn't show up to court, yeah. So at least this guy had enough wherewithal to know, I need to go after Kaori.
It also means that, hey, Ryo just kind of lets his business be out there, easy enough to find for the bad guys to know what the relationship between Ryo and Kaori is.
Which again brings up that question, how much does the average public person in Shinjuku know about City Hunter?
Are they technically celebrities in town?
They're local celebrities a little bit. Ryo for sure.
Maybe Kaori though. Kaori puts her face on the advertisement.
I mean, low key, yeah. After a while, you'd recognize, hey, who's that cute redhead who keeps coming up to the board?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's got to recognize, like, the station manager, maybe?
You would think.
Shinjuku station manager who works that particular spot every Monday through Friday at, like, 10 a.m. or something?
Yeah, like the janitor or something. Somebody's like, oh, yeah, Kaori's here again. Must be another case. Like, somebody would pick up on that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now Keiichi's having to ask Ryo, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to go look for her?
Ryo is playing it off really, really hard.
Well, he's hard, but badly. He's playing it hard.
He's doing it very badly. And he says, we're not gonna look for Kaori. We're just gonna go out for a drive. Meanwhile, he's got his nose in a road atlas.
Yeah.
It's like Road Maps 1988.
Yeah, so he's already looking stuff up and trying to play off that he's not.
And I'm sitting here thinking, you moron, what are you looking around for? You've already got a pretty good idea of where she might be, and you're looking in a map to try and figure out, okay, if I hit up this place, and this place, then I might pick up on something.
Like you're trying to narrow it down.
You can really just see it. He doesn't say any of this, but you can just see it, and his overacting is actually like really really bad, so...
Well, because it's the whole thing that we say a lot about different shows, show, don't tell. Because if he just told everybody what he was doing, that wouldn't be nearly as good story-wise as just him trying to hide what he's doing badly.
Yeah.
But you show that he's trying to do it really hard.
And that's where we're at. So while Kaori, we see her struggling, being tied up and screaming, and the dude is threatening to shoot her if she doesn't shut up. While that's going on, Ryo and Keiichi...
Same difference.
Same person. They're driving around, not in Ryo's Mini Cooper, they're driving around in Kaori's Panda.
We do see that the radio is on and bumping in the Panda, and there is some kick-ass 80s bass music going on.
I do want to check the OST to see if we can't find that track. It's a really good track, and I don't think we've heard it before.
No, we have not heard this before. It's like really city pop, but bass heavy.
We clearly heard it the first time we watched the series, but in this rewatch, like, this is the first episode where this track pops up, Yeah,
it's got this real boom, and it's like really moving, and we were both listening to it going, oh... What is that?
Yeah.
And so, we were wondering, okay, this is another case of Ryo taking the Panda for some weird reason when the Mini Cooper is just right there.
And I'm thinking, what? Does he want to make sure that when he goes to get Kaori, she's got her car?
Like,
I was just like, well, that's kind of nice, I guess.
And so he's playing it off this whole time like, oh, I'm looking for a hotel for us to go bang in.
And so he's driving around through, like, the hotel district area of Kabukicho, where all the love hotels are. And he's playing it off, saying, oh, we could stop at this one, or maybe this one, or maybe this one, when what he's actually doing is he's got a tracker, like, in his ear.
Well, you're getting ahead of it. Well,
no,
yeah, he does have an earpiece. You're right about that.
Yeah, he's got an earpiece, and he's listening for, like, there's a signal out there somewhere, and I'm listening for the signal, and I don't hear the signal. I'm not getting the buzzings, the beepings of the direction that Kaori might be in, because you can very easily assume at this point, oh, he put a tracker on her, and it's not even the first time that he's done it, either.
Well, the thing is, it takes him 2 hours of searching all over the place.
And even Keiichi is like, what are we doing right now?
It's been 2 hours, what's going on? And he's playing it off again like, oh, I'm looking for the perfect hotel. And then finally, the beeping starts getting louder, and he's like, wait, we gotta go off-road. And he starts doing this, like, Italian job, drive down the stairs, drive around the corner.
Right.
Really extreme driving until the beeping starts speeding up and getting louder. Until they end up, like I said, they're on the water in front of, I assume, some warehouse or something. Well, no, not warehouse.
No, it's like a run-down abandoned hotel.
No, you're right. And so at this point, Keiko asks Ryo, well, what the hell are we doing here? And he's like, I'll show you. And he reaches over to the glove compartment and opens it up, and you think, oh, did he keep his gun in there? Is that what's going on? No, he's got a whole ass, fully loaded tracking system. Looks like a Wii U that just pulled out from inside the glove box.
I would not call that a Wii U. I don't...
the thing you hold. The handheld
so a tablet?
Yeah, the tablet part of the Wii U.
Yeah, but it looks like it's installed to the glove box as you pull it down.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, it's a screen. Sure, it's a screen. So yeah, it's like a GPS system combined with tracking services, and he's installed this in Kaori's car?
Yeah, like, why didn't he install this in the Mini Cooper?
I don't know, because he even says it's like his pride and joy. Like, he put a lot of hard work and effort into installing this thing. And I'm like, oh my god, does Kaori know this is in here?
I don't think she knows.
I don't think she knows. And now I'm wondering, like, ma'am, do you ever open your glove compartment? Do you put any sort of paperwork in there? Do you have, like, the car manual, some insurance, the registration?
I don't think she checks.
It's oil change stuff. What, do you put anything in there? I guess not. Maybe she just keeps it all in the door pocket.
Now Ryo has been able to finally reduce the amount of area that he has to search, because apparently, even though he has installed this thing in the Panda, it only has a 1 kilometer range, which isn't very big.
Well, that tells you it's the 80s, where they've got super, super technology, but only very limited in a certain regard.
I'm reminded of those pictures of people who stacked old PS2 memory cards on top of each other, and they tell people, guess how much memory is in there?
Like 32 megs or something?
32 of God's own megabytes. Something like that. So they get off the car and start searching around to figure out, okay, Kaori's around here somewhere in this abandoned hotel, and Ryo's Ryo's like, all right, I think I found the best room in the hotel. Listen closely. And on the other side of this wall, you can hear Kaori yelling to high heaven not to be released. She just wants dinner.
She thinks she's gonna die because she's starving to death. So, like, she might die, but it's not in the way that you might think, you know? And so Ryo's like, you see, that's why this is the best room in the entire dilapidated hotel. And I'm thinking, oh, well, that's kind of nice, actually. Like, he thinks that wherever Kaori is the best room in the whole hotel.
That's actually really sweet of him to do that.
Yeah.
And so Keiichi decides, well, we got to do something about this. Like, are we going to bust in there? And Ryo decides right now, oh, I still need to put on the pervert face. So, hey, why don't we leave Kaori there? There's another room with a bed in it. Let's go over there and do some stuff.
And this actually makes Keiichi really, really mad. And so, I don't know where this came from, that Keiichi's got a very specific kind of statue. It's a dogu.
Well, yeah, specifically a shakoki dogu. It's a very specific prehistoric type of statue that's there in Japan, which you've seen certain kinds of anime and things like that refer to it. It's this kind of stout-looking, Google-eyed little doll.
Like a stone clay doll.
Yeah.
And the most popularized one, like, has enormous eyes and big old tits and a big old ass. And lots of people are not really sure what they were ever used for. Although some people think, oh, well, maybe you would burn them in effigy. Like, if you got an illness, you go, I put my illness on this effigy, and then you would destroy the dogu.
So kind of like a voodoo doll of sorts.
Sorta. Yeah, that's what some people think. That's the thing. They only think that might be what they were for. We don't really know.
We don't. We tried looking it up ourselves, and everybody's like,
So now they're just used in anime and video games a lot. Like, it's just a cultural, hey, this is a funny thing from way back in the history of our island. And what's it for? Oh, they look cool, though.
I don't know, make a girl dress up in a bikini that looks like it, or design a Digimon that looks like it, I don't know.
Anyway, Keiichi threw this stone statue at Ryo for some reason that he got from somewhere. Maybe he learned this technique from Kaori at some point.
Entirely possible.
Pulling stuff out of end space. I don't know.
But somehow, when Keiichi dropped this statue on Ryo, somehow he picked up, or she picked up, they picked up the 357 Magnum out of his holster, and she's getting ready to bust through the door. But unfortunately, I guess she wasn't being silent enough because, you know, there's two dudes in the other room there with Kaori. The dude who's manning the door must have heard her on the other side and just opened the door where she was putting her whole weight on, waiting to get in, and she just falls through into the other room.
Whoops!
And so main dude, who we never learn his name is, he tells her, freeze!
Ugokuna!
Ugokuna!
I don't know if we've ever discussed Ugokuna before.
I don't think we have.
Okay, it's this. I know this is a tangent, but I reference it every single time I hear somebody say freeze or Ugokuna, because he literally says Ugokuna here at this, which is freeze. So, like, we're referencing a New Japan wrestling match, okay? Yes. And I don't even know how old this match is.
It's within the last couple of years, I think, but it's two guys wrestling, and then one...
I want to say up to four. You get up to
a bunch of other guys show up.
Yeah.
And so it's these two guys, and then for some reason, one dude reaches into his trunks and pulls out a gun.
Oh, yeah, in the ring. He's pulled out a gun, and he starts pointing it at his opponent, his wrestling opponent, and he starts screaming, Ugokuna!
Don't move! Ugokuna!
Please! Ugokuna!
And then the ref starts trying to get in the ring.
Ugokuna!
And then some other wrestlers try getting in the ring.
Ugokuna!
Ugokuna!
Ugokuna! And so none of the wrestlers can get close to this guy because he just keeps pointing this gun at everybody and screaming, Ugokuna!
Don't move!
Ugokuna!
Don't move! Don't come any closer!
So anyway, that's why I say that. It has nothing to do with City Hunter other than the fact that I just heard this guy say, Ugokuna! And I really wanted to shout it. That's the entire reason.
And so main dude is like, oh, it's you. Well, you made things a lot easier coming here. I'm just gonna off you right now. But thankfully, again, if Ryo has any superpower, it's that he's got super hearing. And so not even being able to see into the next room, he can hear, okay, I know exactly where this dude's placement is in the room. I can hear the gun cocking. I know exactly what to do. And so he fires a grouping of 5 shots.
So he's got another gun? We weren't thinking about it.
I wasn't even thinking about that. How did Keiichi get the gun? Because Ryo's got a gun. Wait a minute, what? We are literally just realizing this right now as we're recording. How did Keiichi get another gun?
I don't know. Do we need to look at that again? I don't know.
Wait, because, like, are we just supposed to overlook that?
Do I need to look at this?
We need to go to tape. I'm sorry, folks. We're pausing in the middle of us having to look this up because we just realized there's a giant-ass inconsistency. How did he get the gun?
Wait, did he bring his own?
So let's go back a second. When they were in the car showing up at this dilapidated hotel, Keiichi did not have any weapons on him. He drops the Dogu statue on top of Ryo, and Ryo's just sitting there, complaining.
I didn't know she brought one of the guns from my house. Wait, but how does he know that? How does he know that? Hold on. Wait.
How did we both miss that?
But how does Ryo know that?
Keiko is so rash. I didn't know she brought one of the guns from my house.
Why is he saying that?
I feel like they had to add that. Because they realized later, oh crap, we didn't explain how she got the gun. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense. I feel they had to add that.
It's entirely possible because, yeah, we did miss, the one line of, I didn't know she brought a gun from the house. Ryo, when did you learn that information?
Yeah, because
Keiko didn't say that.
Keiko didn't say that. They didn't draw her holding a gun. There was nothing giving away that information. That would have been something that feels like it was done in post. Like, oh crap, we realized we got through the whole episode and we never explained why there's two guns.
We need to get Akira back in here to record this one line of, oh no, how did she get one of the guns from my house?
Because think about this, logically here, Ryo keeps that gun range locked up tight.
Yeah.
The only person who's ever managed to get in there is Sayako.
Mind you, they've been training together down there, so what? I guess Keiko just decided, I'm just gonna not put this back.
But no, think about it. They were on their way to go to the gun range, and then they didn't because Kaori, saw them and then ran off in a huff. So admittedly, yeah, there's been some downtime between Kaori leaving the apartment to go get kidnapped and them waiting in the apartment. So
Are they waiting or are they training?
See, that's the thing. We have to decide right now, headcanon, did they just wait?
No,
because they don't
think
have to go down to the gun range.
Why not? I think Ryo still wants to train Keiko.
Okay, so then go back to the scene where they're waiting right after Kaori got kidnapped, and we have to check whether or not Keiichi is still holding a weapon.
I mean, no, you're not gonna see that she's packing. I don't know why you're asking me, are we gonna just see her with a gun? No, we don't see her with a gun.
I'm just trying to double check, making sure that we didn't miss anything.
No, there's nothing to double check. It's literally just this one line of, I didn't know Keiko brought a gun.
That feels so added on, though.
Well, because we don't have any evidence that she did bring a gun until suddenly there's a gun in her hand down here at this dilapidated hotel.
Then that's gotta be a last-minute addition of some kind.
I guess so.
That's the only way that makes sense. Okay, so we step back for a second and we put it in perspective. Somehow, Ryo missed that she had a gun, and then she broke into the room and then fell on the floor, and that's what happened. And so Ryo, with the gun he always has...
Sure, that's what happened.
Uses his super hearing and shoots through the wall. Okay, now we're back to where we're supposed to be.
And who does he hit? He hits the other guy.
He hits the main guy, who's got a gun trained on Keiko.
Gets him in, both arms and then knocks the gun out of his hand, and then the guy trips over and falls.
Then what does he do to the guy at the door?
No, it's just the one guy, Josh.
No, there's the guy.
It's just one guy. It's only been one guy the entire time. He's just not wearing his hat anymore. I know you can't tell when people take off their hat. It's only been one guy. It's only ever been one guy. It's just this guy.
Okay, so alright. I really didn't recognize him without his hat on. Son of a bitch.
You are the kind of person that would fall for Clark Kent not being Superman when he's put his glasses on.
Not necessarily, but
yes.
I do understand how that works on other people.
Well, I think it just worked on you.
It might have just worked on me. Okay, we're backtracking again. So... Dude opened the door because he heard her on the other side. She falls into the room. He's like, ha, you did me a favor being here. I'm gonna shoot you. Ryo heard all that going on from the other room. Heard where they were in the room. Shot through the wall. Different shots in different parts of the body. And now he comes in and now everything's cleaned up.
Yeah, so now we've shot the other guy in his arms, and we've knocked the weapon out of his hand, and he's all tied up, and we've untied Kaori, and now we've taken everybody outside, and outside, Sayako is waiting with her cop car, and she's like, well... my job is done. I'm just gonna take him downtown. Downtown Shinjuku.
And Ryo's like, oh, you planned it this way, didn't you?
Yeah. That's basically her answer, is kind of just, yeah.
And so now it's at this point, Ryo decides to do, surprisingly of all things that he ever does in this episode, the right thing. And apologizes to Kaori for upsetting her and having her run off away from him in the first place.
Like, he doesn't say it in so many words, because Kaori first is like, I'm sorry, I got got myself kidnapped. I'm sure you're real mad at me. And Ryo's just like, no, I'm sorry. And it's not very many words, but that's basically what it amounts to,
that's
right?
The implication,
because what else is he apologizing for? Because had he not upset her, then she wouldn't have run off, I guess. Because he's like, I'm sorry, this time I fucked up. And that's all he says. But actually, it turns out that really affects Kaori. And she's like, oh no, you shouldn't be apologizing. You should be like really mad at me and stuff. And then Ryo has to reveal, well, I'm sorry that it took so long. I had this tracker on you.
And it's actually sewn into your clothing.
It's in a button on your jacket right now, and I would have been there sooner, but it's only got a range of 1 kilometer, and so we had to drive around for a while before I finally found you. But Kaori's over here like, oh, he actually did a lot of work. I know he's saying it took him a long amount of time, but he went out of his way looking for me, and this touches her greatly.
And she breaks down in tears into his chest, like, oh my god, Ryo, and just starts crying.
And he just lets her cry into his chest. And now Keiko is watching this happen, because Keiko might have picked up on some feelings for Ryo for being a good protector, but she's realizing at this moment, oh no, these two are like meant for each other.
I can't get in the way of this.
Even if I started to catch feelings myself, no, I can't do anything with that.
And that carries over into the next day, because now it's finally trial day. Keiko leaves, still dressed as Keiichi, but she puts her hair back down and thanks the both of them for helping her out. And as she's taking off, she said, yeah, I can't get in between those two. That's a thing. I can't do that. And so as she's driven off, we're assuming she's going down to the courthouse. Kaori's starting to rib Ryo about, hey, so your boy toy just left. You feel bad about that?
And Ryo's like, no, do you feel bad that your boy toy just left?
And she's like, no, I just kind of respected the dude or the chick or whoever, however they identify, for what they were doing, testifying in court. But it's cool. I realized in all of this, there's someone who's even more important to me.
We're just gonna be like really basically blatant and yet somehow just dancing around the fact that we're talking about each other right now to one another's faces. Like, who could you possibly be talking about and why are you saying it to Ryo's face?
But we can't get any more specific than that. Supergirl's playing.
But I really like this last shot because it's got this wide-angle lens.
The fisheye lens.
Yeah, kind of look to it. I like that art a lot, actually.
End in the show with the fisheye lens. And that's it. That's the end of the episode.
That ended okay. Actually, there was more development here than I remembered. Ryo was being a piece of shit for a little while.
For about half the episode.
But eventually we got that cleared up, and it turns out that he and Kaori might be good for each other sometimes.
Well, yeah, if they drop the pretense and we're actually, like, adults.
Yeah, but when's that gonna happen, though?
I don't even know. If it happened sooner or it happened in a realistic time frame, we wouldn't have so much more of this podcast to do.
That's true.
And so next week, we're really getting into it. We're getting into another multi-parter, and unfortunately, this new plot is going to revolve around besmirching the good name of our dearly departed Makimura.
No, not Makimura. He a good guy.
Yeah, we're gonna have some pieces of crap out here saying he was dealing drugs and, stealing from under the table.
But Kaori knows that can't possibly be true. Anyway, so this is another two-parter. There's lots of two-parters this season. You guys already know that.
But this one's gonna be particularly hard because it's especially true in this season. When they really want to tug at your emotional heartstrings, they bring up Makimura.
It's so sad. He was so well loved. For all 6 episodes he existed
5 episodes.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I gave him more credit for just how important this man is in the grand scheme of things for only 5 episodes.
Yeah, Kaori shows up in episode 4, he's dead in episode 5.
I'm sorry, God.
Yeah, you should apologize to the dearly departed.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, we'll have that to look forward to starting next episode.
So come back next time when we cover the 27th episode of City Hunter 2, Message from Makimura, Memories Forever, Part 1.
And if you want to catch us outside this podcast, you can always find us both over on Twitter. For now, I'm at JoshKnightTheFirst.
And I'm at MarzGurl. Thank you all so much for listening to our 77th episode of MokkoriPlay. And if you don't come back next episode, I'm gonna make Josh listen to new music.
We totally forgot to bring that up. New opening.